And good morning, high school football fans. Welcome to the High School Sports Roundup here on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, and Okefenokee, all presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet here on the Roundup. PJ Zucco here with you once again as we wrap up the second week of the high school football playoffs in the GHSA and in Giza as well. They're all across the coastal Georgia and Okefenokee area. And not gonna lie, tough night there last night for a lot of teams from around the area. But a heck of a season for a lot of teams as well as we wrap up the second week here of the playoffs and look forward to some more big weeks as well. You know, I do have a few teams that were able to win and move forward, and certainly looking forward to what they're able to do is that they go move on. You're practicing on Thanksgiving, and that's kind of always what you look forward to, as that means you're really making it deep into the playoffs there. And yeah, as I said though, a couple teams with some tough losses there last night as well, and a heck of a showing from all those teams. Not only throughout the course of the year, but also there last night. You had a lot of games, a lot of teams coming down to the last possession or the last possession or two in their football games, and some of them weren't able to pull it out. Some of them were able to do exactly that. So let's start going through the scores here on the roundup and stepping through here all the games from last night and everything that was going on. Take a look at what teams are moving forward into as well. But you look in 6A, Brunswick High there in Glenn County Stadium. But what a back and forth contest. What a wild game there against Decula out of Atlanta. Decula able to come away with the victory there, 29-21. Brunswick High's undefeated season falls there in the second round against the heck of a ball club. And I said it throughout the course of the week. I know I said it talking to Christian the other day on Second Down. There are a number of matchups, and were a number of matchups last night that you feel like could have been semifinal game matchups, could have been third round, and sometimes it just works out that way, right? You have a certain team lose throughout the season. One time in region, they end up being a 2-seed or a 3-seed all of a sudden due to tiebreakers or something like that, and you see a matchup like you do in the second round instead of deeper in the season, deeper in the postseason. So I feel like that one of those games, Decula, always a very strong football program and a strong football team. And at the end of the day, though, if Brunswick High was able to put together, I think their best game, I think they would certainly have been able to come out with a victory there. Tough game there last night, though. A lot of kind of self-inflicted wounds from the Brunswick High Pirates. At the same time, some very impressive plays, very impressive drives as well. And had it right there on the edge, too. You come back, score a touchdown there late, recover the onside kick, and a tough pick six there on the first play after the onside kick for Decula to take it back for a touchdown and win that one. So Decula wins that one 29-21 over Brunswick High in a tough contest there, and I'll certainly be talking more about that one throughout the show. Can't wait to also talk to Sean Pender, head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates. Have him coming up in just a few minutes and talk with him about the course of the whole season. Look at that game, of course. Look back at what happened there last night, but also just what an impressive team, what an impressive showing they've put together here all throughout 2021. But also last night in 5A, you have Ware County in another one of these matchups that I feel like, man, this could have been a semifinal type of matchup. And, take a look and keep your eye on whoever wins this game, right? Back and forth all night. Ware County taking the lead all night by 7 points, but just not really able to ever pull away in that one, as Ware County then falls to Calhoun 49-42. Calhoun able to come back, score a couple touchdowns there late, and get the victory over the Ware County Gators. And that been an interesting thing kind of all year, right? Now you have Ware County. This is actually the exact same score of their first loss of the season. there against Benedictine in Savannah, and the Cadets at 49-42, and an impressive offensive showing all year. I feel like in games like this, it kind of gets into a score fest type of thing, and Ware County obviously able to score a ton of points and be very impressive. Sometimes though, that defense, I feel like maybe not able to keep up with the offense. So at the end of the day, Calhoun, a very impressive football program, very impressive team. And again, I feel like you could have saw this matchup in the semifinals in a different year and with different seedings and everything like that. But Calhoun gets the victory there, 49-42, and they will move on to keep their playoff hopes alive. Calhoun will take on Clark Central there next week, as Clark Central gets the win over Starrs Mill last night, 24-7. On the other side in 5A, you have Warner Robins. They get the victory, last one alive there out of that region, and Warner Robins defeats Cartersville 24-17, and Warner Robins will travel to Jones County coming up next week. But you move down to 3A. Pierce County still kicking after a huge victory over Dawson County. Never in doubt with a 49-0 victory over Dawson County last night. Absolutely rolling. Of course, you have everything clicking to be able to get that kind of win. Same thing against Windsor Forest the week before that with a victory in round one. And Pierce County, just kind of everything coming together as the season has gone on for the Pierce County Bears. Of course, you start the year tough there with that loss to Brunswick High, also banged up, also dealing with COVID issues and things like that. You move throughout the season, you take on Gunner Stockton and Rabun County, and you honestly, defensively, you hold them to only 28 points and fall in that one 28-21 was a tough ball game all the way throughout, and not able to come away with the victory there. But of course, that was the last time the Pierce County Bears tasted defeat here in 2021. Since then, they've been absolutely rolling, even in the biggest contest of the year, not allowing any points against Appling County there in their region championship game, which they won 20-0. So they move on to the third round. The Pierce County Bears will host Peach County. Peach County with all their offensive firepower that we're used to. It seems like every single year Peach County is either in the state championship game or in the semifinals. So that going to be a heck of a matchup. Pierce County hosting Peach County coming up next week. Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, what else could you think up for a third round game on Thanksgiving weekend in 3A football? The Pierce County, the defending state champions, of course, taking on Peach County there next week. You look at the other side, still alive as well is Appling County. 34-20 winners over Cherokee Bluff last night. Appling County will move on and take on Thompson there next week. Thompson beating Ringgold 14-0 there last night. So Thompson hosting Appling County next week. Pierce County hosting Peach County, and certainly looking forward to seeing how all that turns out. Taking a look around there at 3A as well, you also have Southeast Bullock, who got their first playoff victory since the 1970s last week. Their reward for that was having to travel up to Cedar Grove and take on Cedar Grove. And Cedar Grove got the victory there 48-10. They'll move on and take on Crisp County coming up there next week. Also, semi-local here, you have Liberty County. They got the victory over Brantley County last week. They fall to Carver out of Atlanta. They're a tough 2 seed, if you ask me. Carver out of Atlanta beat Liberty County there 53-12, and Carver, will host Burke County coming up next week. So some big matchups there in the third round of the high school football playoffs in 3A. Kind of all the likely suspects, right? Cedar Grove at Crisp, Appling County at Thompson, Peach County at Pierce County, and Burke County at Carver out of Atlanta. That is a heck of a 4-game slate there for 3A. So certainly looking forward to that. But moving on to single A public, McIntosh County Academy, sadly, their season comes to an end there last night in a heck of a ball game there in overtime against Manchester. Manchester gets the win over the Buccaneers 19-13 there last night at the Ship in an absolute defensive battle. there, but between those two teams. And Manchester, I mean, this isn't something that's necessarily surprising either. McIntosh County Academy has been a solid defensive team all year. Of course, winning their first round game 32-6 over Mitchell County, and Manchester got their upset over one seed on their side, Georgia Military. They won that game 20-8. So, not a couple teams that are going to light up the scoreboard by any means, but play really solid defense, and that's what we saw all last night between McIntosh County Academy and Manchester. Manchester just able to do just enough there in overtime to come away with the victory. And now the 4 seed moving on to the third round to travel to Wilcox County coming up next week. So big win for Manchester there. Tough loss there for McIntosh County Academy. But you come into the postseason there as a 3 seed. I thought for, just kind of looking and maybe looking ahead, I thought possibly McIntosh County Academy, even as the 3 seed, could be a solid third, maybe even third round, maybe even semifinal type of football team, just with how they've looked all year and how impressively they've played. You're in a region with ECI and Metter, 2 insanely good high school football teams that have shown that over the course of the postseason. Sadly, ECI falling in Macon County there last night, but they've shown that throughout the course of the year, of course, as well. But McIntosh County Academy just not able to get over the hump there, get the victory last night. They fall to Manchester 19-13. You also have Metter on the other side there in Single A Public. The Metter Tigers staying undefeated, getting the victory 33-6 over Schley County. They will host Turner County coming up next week after Turner County defeats Bowden 46-13. So big wins there by Metter. A big win there by Metter to move on. Tough one there for McIntosh County Academy last night to finish the season for the Buccaneers. In Single A Private, this obviously moving up a little bit north of us there for the Savannah and Hilton Head area. But Single A Private, you have Calvary Day defeating Wesleyan 35-0 there last night at home. The Cavaliers stay undefeated and they move on to take on Fellowship Christian coming up there next week. So looking forward to that. Calvary Day been a strong team all year, obviously a very balanced, very deep football team. So Calvary Day looking to host Fellowship Christian coming up next week after a big win. Savannah Country Day falls to Holy Innocents last night, 42-7. So a strong season by the Savannah Country Day Hornets. They've had to deal with some injuries moving throughout the year, kind of had a tough middle stretch of the season, but they come back in region play and do some big things. Sadly fall to Holy Innocents there last night, though, and their run comes to an end there against Holy Innocents 42-7. While we're talking about the Savannah, the Hilton Head area, you move back up to 4A. Benedictine with a huge victory last night over Luella 63-7, and they'll take on Marist coming up next week. Marist defeats LaGrange last night 48-7, and that again, just what a football game that's going to be on Thanksgiving weekend between those two teams. Marist has been insanely strong all year. Their 2 postseason games, a 49-7 win over Cedar Shoals, and then of course the win last night 48-7 over LaGrange. And Benedictine, no stranger to that. They defeat Thomas County Central their first round game 59-0, and defeat Luella last night 63-7. So 2 high scoring offenses doing battle there next week in 4A for another one of these insane contests that we get to look forward to on Thanksgiving weekend over the course of all throughout the classifications here in Georgia high school football. And of course, what we would expect, some of the best high school football players in the country residing right here in Georgia. And we see that every single year with the recruiting rankings and with several college football teams coming down to Georgia to come down and get these high school football players for their college team. So no surprise there. But obviously a tough one last night there in Glenn County Stadium, as Brunswick High gets down 14-0 there in the first. And I don't think that's talked about enough. Is Brunswick High, the first time all year they trailed was against Effingham in the last game of the year when they were up. Effingham was up 3-0. Brunswick High responds, obviously goes on a big run there, 21-3, and holds Effingham off to win the region championship. This really the second time of the year they were down, and they were down, pretty solid amount. They're 14 to nothing, 2-score game. Didn't panic though, by any means. Didn't panic. You come back for the Pirates and tie it up there before halftime with a couple Jacoby Hill touchdown runs. But did have more opportunities. I think that is the main thing, and kind of the main focus of last night when it comes down to how this game shook out is had a couple times inside the 10-yard line for the Pirates offense. Two very impressive drives. One 90-plus yard drive that very well could have ended up in the end zone, but you have a second and goal, couple of delay of game penalties, or a delay of game penalty, couple of sacks there as well, and just a tough possession there. And then later a game, you have a similar situation where you're inside the 10, just not able to come away with points. So a couple of opportunities there that kind of fall by the wayside. Of course, you look at Tequila, you could say the same thing with a fumble on the goal line that Brunswick High was able to recover. Although that did turn around and give Tequila a safety there a few plays later. So at the end of the day, some tough moments there last night for Brunswick High and for Tequila to come away with the victory. But of course, you can go back and say that about all these losses from last night from Coastal Georgia teams. Just some tough moments, but doesn't certainly take away from a great season for all these teams, even with it ending there in the second round. Certainly not where they wanted it to end. Every team wants to end it in the state championship game, hoisting that trophy over their head, but sadly just doesn't work out like that from time to time. Have a couple of teams still alive and still looking to do that. One team did it last year there in Pierce County, and they're on a roll here once again, defeating Dawson County last night 49 to nothing. And we'll see what they can do against Peach County on Thanksgiving weekend here in the third round next week. Certainly looking forward to that. But yeah, tough one for Brunswick High last night. We'll come back, talk with Sean Pender about that, head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates. Also talk with him just about the season as a whole. Undefeated season, region championship there for Brunswick High, making it into the playoffs, big playoff win there last week. And of course, ending it in a tough way last night, but certainly doesn't take away from the great season they had and the memories that everyone will have of this Brunswick High undefeated football team up till last night. But we'll talk to him about all that when we come back here on the High School Sports Roundup on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, and Okefenokee, the ESPN app, ESPNCoastal.com. Welcome back. High School Sports Roundup here on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia and Okefenokee, all presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet. PJ Zucco here with you on the Roundup this morning, taking a look back there at last night's high school football games and matchups there in the second round of the GHSA playoffs. Last night, Tequila getting the victory over Brunswick High, 29-21. It was Calhoun over Ware County, 49-42. Pierce County getting the win over Dawson County, 49-0. Appling County defeating Cherokee Branch there, Bluff, 34-20. Manchester getting the win over McIntosh County Academy, 19-13, and Metter defeating Schley County, 33-6. But as I mentioned, tough one there last night in Glenn County Stadium. Tequila coming down, getting the victory over Brunswick High, 29-21, in quite the high school football ball game there. But joining us now, the head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, Sean Pender, on the High School Sports Roundup. Coach Pender, great to have you on. I know tough one there last night, but how you doing this morning?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Like I said earlier, PJ, it's always better to be on after a win than a loss.
Yeah, Coach, and totally understandable for sure. And I know a tough one there last night as well as Tequila, a very talented, very good high school football team and program, and came down and certainly came off the bus ready to go. Got that 14-0 lead. You guys able to battle back, but still put up a very impressive showing and was almost able to come back and get the victory there. But against a good team, got to have the best foot forward. And sadly, just some self-inflicted wounds there last night kind of kept the win away from the Pirates.
Yeah, absolutely. Over this second round route here, this is 3 years in a row we got put out in the second round, and year 1 and 2, I could accept a little bit better than this one because the teams who were playing were just better, and that just wasn't the case this week. This week, we played against a very tough team in Jakula, and they did a great job. So nothing. I'm not taking anything away from them. I just know that we didn't play our best football game, and this time of year, you got to always play your best, and we just made too many mistakes. And you make those type of mistakes against good teams like Jakula, you're not going to get away with a victory. I mean, we had 3 drives inside to go inside the 20. 2 drives we started from the shadows of our own goalpost and drive it all the way down inside the 10 and come away with 0 points, a missed field goal, and then got turned away on 4th down and made some bad penalties, delay of games down there, and then we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, Coach, and that's you mentioned that, just having the ball there inside the 10 a few times and putting together really impressive drives, especially that first one. I think a 90-foot, it would have been if you're able to get in the end zone, 94-yard drive there, starting at your own 6 and able to get all the way down to the 8. But just the delay of game, you have a couple sacks there backing it up as well. You mentioned the missed field goal there on the other drive also, but as you mentioned, you're able to put together such impressive drives and get inside the 10-yard line. Always need to come away with points, especially against a really solid team.
Yeah, you do, and and just very uncharacteristic of our team. I mean, we've been very, very good and very efficient at finishing our drives this year. That's part of why we were 11-0 going into the season or going into this game, and just things went awry for one reason or another, and it was frustrating, that we didn't capitalize. And looking back on it today, it's just we're licking our wounds, and I know we got to move forward and get ready for the next contest. And it's a little harder to do when you should still be playing.
Right, certainly understandable. Sean Pender, head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, our guest here on the High School Sports Roundup. A tough loss to Tequila last night there in the second round of the playoffs to end the season there, 29-21. And yeah, Coach, you talk about that, being able to kind of sort that out as the game went on, battle back a couple big touchdown drives and touchdown runs by Jacoby Hill, tying it up 14-14 there before the half. And there, of course, down the stretch, you have Tequila fumbling on the goal line. You take over and the safety there following that. But still, again, able to battle back there till the end. score the touchdown, get the onside kick, and have that pick six there late as well. So a tough way to lose it that way for sure. But certainly able to battle back, get back in that ball game, and make it down to the end.
Yeah, our kids did battle. I will say that our kids played very hard. We made minimal mistakes, but physically, our kids gave outstanding effort, throughout the game. And, of course, I'm proud of them, proud of the season that they had, and my heart aches, for them as well. And we put so much into this season, and we still should be playing, but we made mistakes that cost us, but our kids gave tremendous effort. I will say that.
Right, Coach. Absolutely. And when you look back, obviously you have, you get to this point of the year, and certainly a tough loss there. You don't want it to be the end, especially for those seniors. But at the end of the day, those guys that played their last ball game there last night obviously have put together an impressive resume there at Brunswick High with what they've been able to do over the past 4 years. You mentioned that the playoff berths there, and of course the undefeated season region championship. 2 region championships in the last 2 years. You had the one that split there last year, and then of course the three-way tie at the top, and then of course this year going undefeated and winning the region championship as well. And just those guys obviously able to put together a very good, fantastic career there at Brunswick High. And everyone wants it to end there in the state championship game when you're a senior and hoisting that trophy, but still, those guys have been a part of this program in a very strong way, and put together a very big 4 years for the Pirates.
Yeah, they really have. And, this year, I mean, we're also very disappointed with last night, but, overall, it was the best season Brunswick High had in 22 years.
Right.
So when you look at that, there's definitely some things that you can go back and remember.
Yeah, Coach, for sure. And looking forward, to that. But now also you have, like you said, you wake up and tough to have that game last night. That tough to look back on it at the same time. Moving forward as well, I know high school football season will be here before we know it once again. And I know you got some young talent that you're looking forward to bringing back there with the Pirates.
Yeah, we do. We're going to have some waiting, but we do have some young talent, some kids that are itching to get their shot and their opportunity. And, hopefully we'll have the fuel ready and be ready to reload next season.
Yeah, Coach, for sure. Finally, I read it there in the Brunswick News there. I certainly want to give credit to them for their coverage. And, it said quote, the first thing you said about this football team is you love them, and just proud of them for what they were able to do. And I feel like we'd be remiss to also not mention, what they were able to do on the field and off the field in the community. Obviously with everything the team and with the community has been through over the past year and a half, 2 years, with obviously all the different things going on. Of course, you have the Ahmaud Arbery case as well, and how that's impacted the team. You have a pandemic and everything like that. But Coach, just how proud are you of them, not only with the on the field stuff, but the off the field stuff as well that they've been able to do in the community?
No, I'm extremely proud of that. DJ, I mean, that's a whole nother show that we can talk about when we talk about how proud I am and the things that we did off the field, and just the unity stuff that our kids are about. And we were trying to embrace that, and trying to help our community with some healing, and making sure we kind of stay together instead of fall apart, because in today's world, it's everyone's like picking at you to fall apart in some aspect or whatnot. And for us to be able to overcome some of the things that we were able to overcome, and then not just overcome that, but also started, giving back and doing things for our community that we needed to do, that we felt, led to do. Our kids bought into that and did well. It helped them with their healing process, and help our community with its healing process as well.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Sean Pender, head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, our guest here on the High School Sports Roundup, as a tough one there last night to Decula, 29-21, but a heck of an impressive season for the Brunswick High Pirates. Again, best one since, like you said, 21 years since 1999, with the undefeated record region championship there for the Pirates throughout the regular season. And then, of course, the big round one win as well for the Pirates. But Coach Pender, certainly appreciate it. As we said, next season will be here before we know it. But thank you for coming on all year and joining us so consistently, and appreciate it. Have a solid off season. We'll certainly be ready to talk to you in a few months when it comes back.
All right. Thanks for having me on, BJ. Take care.
I appreciate it, Coach Sean Pender, head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, our guest here on the High School Sports Roundup. So a tough loss there, but the Pirates, with the young talent this team has, completely believe it. They'll be back once again, making an impact here in 2022. Certainly a strong showing by those seniors, and with what they've been able to do over the past 4 years, and of course this year for the Pirates. And as he said, it's a tough one to swallow because you didn't play your best game and you still had an opportunity to win there down the stretch. And just to think, you had those opportunities there inside the 10-yard line, not able to come away with points. Another one inside the 20, and still only lost by one possession. Still, we're only down, but had an opportunity to win the football game in the final minute. So not even playing the best game that you had, not even having your A game. So yeah, a tough one there last night. But again, solid season there by the Pirates. It's a tough one to end it on, but certainly reflecting back on this season and what these seniors have been able to do over the past 4 years, they'll have some fond memories of what they did on the field and off the field for the community with the Brunswick High Pirates. But we'll come back. Some other big games there last night as well. Some tough losses, some big wins. Also punching tickets to the third round of the playoffs. We'll come back, talk about all of it here on the High School Sports Roundup, presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, and Okefenokee. And welcome back. It's High School Sports Roundup here on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, and Okefenokee, the ESPN app, ESPNCoastal.com. It's all presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet here on the Roundup. And PJ Zucco here chatting about all these huge high school football games from last night. Second round of the GHSA playoffs, GISA playoffs there as well. And some huge matchups, huge games, some big wins from Coastal Georgia area teams, some tough losses there as well. But last night, Decula gets the victory over Brunswick High, 29-21. It was 29-21. It was Calhoun over Ware County, 49-42. Manchester gets the victory over McIntosh County Academy in overtime. The triple overtime there, 19-13. It was Metter over Slay County, 33-6. Pierce County defeating Dawson County 49-0. Appling County over Cherokee Bluff 34-20 there as well. And as we mentioned, a tough one there for McIntosh County Academy, an absolute battle last night with Manchester there in Darien, as Manchester gets the win there after a few overtimes, 19-13. Joining us now, the head coach of the McIntosh County Academy Buccaneers, Bradley Warren, here with us on the High School Sports Roundup. Coach Warren, great to have you on this morning. I know a tough loss there last night, but how you doing this morning?
Good, PJ. I'm about to take my son to work at a Christmas tree for him, so I'm in dad mode this morning.
I got you, Coach. We'll certainly appreciate you coming on, even with that. But like you said, dad mode, those things come first without a doubt as well. But Coach, obviously a tough one there last night. You have Manchester and a tight defensive wild ball game there for throughout most of it. You go into overtime with both teams they're knotted up at 7, and after a few overtimes, Manchester just able to squeak out the victory there, 19-13, and again, just an absolute battle between these two teams all night.
Yeah, it was going into at the end of regulation. They had 79 yards of offense. We had 170, so it wasn't. It was definitely, like you just said, a defensive battle. We anticipated that going in. We knew that they were really big, really physical. Playing for our new coach, Stephen Holmes, who's done a good job. We knew defensively that they knew what we were going to do because they run the wing tee as well. So it was tough sledding early. We opened up the game with a score, kicked the extra point, and then the other drives that we had going on, PJ, we had several other drives, but we were short on the clock. Before the half, we were down taking shots in the end zone and just couldn't punch it in, and a couple of other times. But in the fourth quarter, we had the ball on about our 50-yard line with a chance to put the game away or run more clock out, and we fumbled. In a ball game like of this magnitude, just 2 or 3 mistakes can cost you a ball game. That's what happened last night.
Yeah, Coach, certainly understandable there, and a tough one. That, like you said, some of those mistakes can come up big, and you mentioned that those going through overtime there as well, just that kind of wild back and forth. You have the second overtime where both teams find the end zone. Both teams not able to convert on the PAT, so it comes up to the next overtime where Manchester was able to get the win. So, like you said, just back and forth all night when you talk about both defenses making plays and coming up and making big plays. And then of course you have the overtimes there where in the third Manchester was able to punch it in the end zone there late.
Yeah, the overtimes were crazy. It was very intense. Both teams were hungry for a win and to go to the next round. So the first overtime, we started off with a sweep to our big fullback that we had scored on earlier in the game in the first quarter, and their defensive end shot outside, and we didn't block him very well. So we got hit for a loss. In the second play, we received a penalty, so we didn't score in that first overtime, which is scary, because the opposing team then has the ball on the 15-yard line. So we were able to stop them as well. I think we had a sack and they had a penalty. So the first overtime was sloppy. Second overtime, we looked really good. We punched it in and missed the extra point wide left. So I knew we were in trouble with the extra point. They scored, and BJ, we were able to get a hand on the extra point and it forced it to hit the upright and fall short. So it was 13-13 going into the third overtime. And we had the football, and we gave it to one of our better players, and he was trying to make a play. He had about a 9-yard gain, and the ball was dislodged. And they came up with a ball. Then we battled there pretty hard. The ball game ended up being 4th and goal on the 1, and they ran a quarterback sneak, and there was a judgment call there on whether he got in or not. Then, before that, to give them their score in overtime, we had them 4th and 15 and gave up an outside fade comeback for a touchdown, which was really, really, really hurt.
Yeah, Coach, certainly understandable there. And as you mentioned, just a tough way to go down, without a doubt. Still, like you said, proud of your guys to be able to battle all night through those overtimes and come up just a bit short. But Coach, at the end of the day, obviously, this not how you want to end it, but this is the last time that those seniors are going to be there on the field for the Buccaneers. When you look back at what they've been able to do since you've been there, and also just what they've been able to do over their 4 years there at McIntosh County Academy, and obviously able to battle through this season, make it get the upset win there in the first round, and then almost punch a ticket there to the third round as well with the game last night. But when you look back and what they've been able to do, what will you think of most for these seniors here for the Buccaneers?
Mostly I've got 10 seniors on this year's football team, and 8 of them have been with me since day one. And I love those guys, man. They've really worked hard. I think the thing that defines them is actually their work ethic. They were pumping iron and lifting yesterday on game day. They're a hardcore bunch, so I'm going to miss them in that regard. And I think their legacy that they've probably left behind is the work ethic, the hardcore mentality of, hey, if you'll train hard, you'll not only be hard, but you'll be hard to beat type motto. And that's kind of the brand of football we like to play: good defense, ball control, offense, and have a chance to win in the end. This time we just came up a little short. Those guys are tremendous leaders. We're gonna miss them.
Yeah, Coach, understandable, and for sure, like you said, some great leaders there on that team, and looking forward to what they do next. But then again, Coach, I know before we know it, we're going to be talking about the 2022 season of high school football, and looking forward to that for sure. And what do you get to look forward to with guys coming back? I know there's a number of young guys that have been able to make plays this year that you're looking forward to doing the exact same thing and move forward even more here next year.
Yeah, we have the group is going to be seniors next year. That's the first class that we were able to put together on our own. So we have 19 juniors coming in next year, which is a huge class for single A. And those guys are impact players, and many of them started last night. I was just thinking about 2 of our linemen we have coming back: middle linebacker Lake Linton, the Campbell twins. There's Will Fillmore at quarterback. We've got some wide receivers. We've got a good core back. We're just going to have to plug in the pieces of who's going to fill these big shoes and how.
All right, Coach, completely understandable, but looking forward to seeing how McIntosh County Academy does move forward here in 2022 and progress throughout the offseason. But a very impressive 2021 season for McIntosh County to look back on as well, and a great career for these seniors here for the Buccaneers also. But Bradley Warren, head coach of the McIntosh County Academy Buccaneers, been our guest here on the High School Sports Roundup. Coach, great to have you on once again. Great to talk to you throughout the season, and we'll certainly look forward to next year as well. Appreciate it, and hope you have a good one.
Thank you, PJ. I appreciate the call.
Yes, sir. Bradley Warren, head coach of the McIntosh County Academy Buccaneers, our guest here on the High School Sports Roundup. We'll come back, wrap it all up here on the Roundup, presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia, and Okefenokee. Welcome back. High School Sports Roundup presented by Walker Jones Chevrolet here on ESPN Radio, Coastal Georgia and Okefenokee. PJ Zucco here with you for one final time here this weekend, the second round of the GHSA playoffs. Decula over Brunswick High, 29-21. Calhoun defeats Ware County 49-42. It was Pierce County over Dawson County 49-0. And Appling County getting the victory over Cherokee Bluff 34-20. Manchester defeats McIntosh County Academy 19-13 in triple overtime. Metter over Slay County 33-6. Holy Innocents defeating Savannah Country Day 42-7. And Calvary Day over Wesleyan 35-0. Tough way to end Frederica Academy's season with them having to cancel their game in the Giza playoffs due to COVID and tracing issues and things like that. So hearts go out to Frederica Academy to end the season like that, end the season without actually being on the field. You never like to see that by any means. So tough one for them, but we'll certainly look forward to Pierce County and Appling County moving on and hopefully punching their ticket to the semifinals next week in Thanksgiving. But PJ Zucco, High School Sports Roundup. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Stay safe. God bless. Have a good one.